The story begins with a man named Nick, an advertising executive. He was once married to Gigi, but they are now divorced. They have a daughter named Alex, who lives with her mother because Nick has never had a close relationship with her and rarely paid attention to his family. Before going to work, Nick visits Lola, a barista at a coffee shop, because he likes her. Nick is very charming and knows how to impress women with his words, but he doesn't understand their feelings or know how to treat them with respect. That day, he is excited because he expects to get a promotion, but his manager, Dan, announces that the company is hiring a woman instead. The company plans to focus on products for female customers, and Dan believes a woman is better suited for the role. Nick is unhappy with this decision and later attends his ex-wife Gigi's wedding. Since Gigi is leaving for a 2-week honeymoon, she asks Nick to take care of Alex. When Nick learns that Alex has a boyfriend, he is upset because he doesn't want his daughter to be in a relationship. Alex doesn't care about Nick's feelings. At a company meeting, Nick meets Darcy, the woman hired to lead a new marketing strategy focused on female customers. She explains that women represent a huge market and that the company could earn billions by creating products that truly meet their needs. Since the company has never paid much attention to women before, she gives everyone a box of women's products and asks them to come up with advertising ideas by the next day. Although Nick isn't interested, he takes the box home and even tries the products himself for inspiration. Meanwhile, Alex arrives with her boyfriend, Cameron. She is angry because Nick took her music CDs without asking, and during their argument, Nick can't even remember Cameron's name because he never pays attention to what Alex says. Hurt and frustrated, Alex storms off to her room. Later, while thinking about an advertising idea, Nick slips on some beads and falls into the bathtub. His hair dryer drops into the water, sending a powerful electric shock through the tub and knocking him unconscious. When he wakes up, his housekeeper Stella is beside him. After the accident, Nick discovers that he can hear women's thoughts. Even though Stella says nothing, he can hear everything going through her mind. At the office, he realizes he can hear the thoughts of every woman he meets, including the security guard and his coworkers. Shocked and overwhelmed, Nick panics as he hears what women truly think about him. Although the women always acted politely in front of Nick, hearing their true thoughts breaks his heart. Confused about how he can hear women's minds, he shares the problem with a coworker, but no one believes him. Instead, they assume he's upset because he didn't get the promotion. With no answers, Nick attends another office meeting, where he also hears Darcy's thoughts. When he presents his advertising idea, everyone praises him out loud, but in their minds they criticize him, making him even more uncomfortable. Nick then secretly uses ideas he hears from other people's thoughts to impress Darcy, but it doesn't go as planned. That night, hoping to reverse what happened, he uses all the women's products again and even shocks himself with electricity in the rain, but nothing changes. Desperate, Nick visits his former therapist, the same doctor who counseled him and his ex-wife 10 years earlier. At first, she thinks he's making everything up, but when Nick accurately reveals what she's thinking, she is stunned. The therapist advises him to use his unusual ability wisely, explaining that it gives him a chance to truly understand what women want. Realizing this, Nick starts changing his behavior. When he meets Lola again, he senses that she is afraid of being hurt, so he earns her trust and convinces her to go on a date with him. He also begins treating the women in his office with genuine respect after hearing their thoughts, leaving them shocked by his sudden kindness. Nick even helps a co-worker named Erin carry her books, making her smile for the first time. Later, he visits Darcy and uses what he hears from her thoughts to say exactly the right things, hoping to improve her opinion of him. Just then, their manager, Dan, arrives and interrupts their conversation. At work, Dan begins discussing a new project, and whenever Darcy thinks of an idea, Nick hears it and presents it as if it were his own. Darcy is impressed and starts believing that she and Nick think alike, while Dan also begins to see Nick in a much better light. As they spend more time together, Nick and Darcy gradually develop feelings for each other. When Nick returns home, he finds Alex planning her prom night with her friends. Wanting to rebuild their relationship, he decides to take her shopping the next day to buy a prom dress. Later, Nick goes on a date with Lola and realizes how valuable his ability to understand women's thoughts really is. Instead of avoiding their feelings, he now listens carefully and treats them with genuine respect. At the office, he becomes kinder to all his female co-workers and grows closer to Darcy by understanding her emotions, making her believe that Nick truly understands her. The next day, Nick takes Alex shopping, and after trying on several dresses, she finally picks one. They spend quality time together for the first time, strengthening their bond. While there, Nick hears Alex thinking about secretly meeting Cameron after prom, so he warns her that Cameron isn't trustworthy and tells her to stay away from him. However, Alex refuses to listen. Later, Nick goes on another date with Darcy, but when she invites him to her house, he politely declines because he doesn't want to hurt her. On his way home, Lola meets him again, and not wanting to break her heart a second time, Nick lies that he's interested in men. Lola believes him, appreciates his honesty, and leaves without feeling hurt or angry. The following day at the office, Nick feels guilty for stealing Darcy's presentation ideas, so he hands the presentation over to her and encourages her to present it herself. However, Darcy refuses because she believes Nick deserves the credit. Darcy believes the presentation and all the hard work belonged to Nick, even though the ideas were actually hers. Because she truly loves him, she willingly lets him take the credit. After she leaves, Nick hears Erin's thoughts and realizes she is planning to take her own life because she feels like a failure after spending 2 years working on projects that never made her happy. Although Nick's presentation is a huge success and helps the company win an important contract, he isn't proud of it because he knows he stole Darcy's ideas. Wanting to make things right, he starts writing a confession letter, but before he can finish, Darcy arrives and takes him to her house to celebrate. They dance, spend time together, and grow even closer. Later, Nick finally confesses everything to Dan, admitting that the presentation was based on Darcy's ideas and that she deserves all the credit. However, Dan refuses to believe him, arguing that Nick gave the presentation while Darcy stayed silent. He even reveals that he has already fired Darcy because he thinks Nick can do her job better. Furious, Nick tells Dan that if Darcy isn't rehired, he will quit as well. But after, Nick notices that Erin hasn't come to work and rushes through the rain to find her. On the way, he is struck by lightning but survives. When he reaches Erin's house, he finds a note suggesting she plans to end her life. As he reads it, Erin mistakes him for a burglar and attacks him before realizing who he is. Nick then notices that he can no longer hear her thoughts, realizing his strange ability has disappeared. Relieved to be back to normal, he encourages Erin by offering her an important role on a new creative team where her talents will finally be appreciated. Touched by his support, Erin accepts the offer. Nick then goes to Darcy's house, but she is so heartbroken that she refuses to answer the door or take his calls. Just then, Gigi calls Nick and tells him that Alex is very upset. Nick rushes to the prom party and finds Alex crying because Cameron has broken up with her after she refused to go to a hotel with him. For the first time, Nick truly listens to his daughter's feelings and comforts her. Alex finally feels understood, and the two return home with a much stronger bond. Still worried about Darcy, Nick goes to her house late that night. She lets him in and tells him that she's selling her house because she lost her job. Nick then reveals that she is being offered her job back. He finally confesses everything, admitting that he stole her ideas to earn the promotion and that she deserved all the credit. Nick sincerely apologizes and tells Darcy that he loves her. Although Darcy is hurt and angry at first, she realizes that Nick has truly changed. She forgives him, stops him from leaving, and they share a kiss, bringing the movie to a happy ending.